Chapter 5. Lucilla woke. She lay on a hard surface, her head ached and she felt dizzy and battered. A blurry shape swam into her vision and resolved into a man's face bending over her. He had bright blue eyes and an unruly shock of brown hair. Above his head was an unfamiliar curved metal ceiling instead of her transparent dome. "Who are you?" she whispered, blushing at the sight of a live person after 4 solitary years. He blinked in surprise. "Jasper from Phobos Station. How are you feeling, Lucilla?" He looked about her age, and his cheerful expression matched his personality. Lucilla groaned. He had removed her helmet. She lifted her hand to hide her face. Pain shot up her arm and she stifled a scream. He caught her hand in a firm grip. "Careful. Your wrist is broken. Keep still and I'll bandage the wrist." She covered her scarred face with the other hand and lay quietly while he wrapped her broken wrist. "All done," he said cheerfully, squeezing her shoulder. "You can look now." "No," Lucilla wailed. "Don't look at me." "What's the matter, babe?" His voice was filled with concern. "My eyes are artificial." She peeped through her fingers at him, and her heart fluttered at his smile. Cautiously she removed her hand, revealing her rainbow-colored eyeballs. His smile brightened. "Your eyes are amazing, Lucilla." Lucilla tried to sit up, but her head was spinning. "What happened to me?" "Wait there till you recover," he said, slipping his arm under her neck and easing her down gently. "Your buggy was buried by the quake. I came as fast as I could and dug you out of the crevasse. You're safe in my shuttle. We're in low orbit." Hyper-aware of his arm supporting her neck, she closed her eyes and tried to think despite the headache. "How did you find me?" "I followed your comm signal." He placed a hand against her forehead. "I've run the med scans. Nothing else is broken, but you must have bashed against the buggy walls. Any aches or pains?" "My head aches," she groaned, feeling miserable. "I'm sore all over and my throat is dry." Jasper patted her shoulder. "You'll be okay, babe. Lie there and I'll get you a drink." She heard him walk away and listened to the rustles and clinks as he sorted through containers. Opening her eyes, she cautiously moved her head to peer around. She lay on the floor of a cabin. It was considerably larger than the cabin of her buggy, with rows of lockers and instruments arranged on the side walls behind 4 folded seats. Jasper was mixing something at a shelf. She admired his lean body in the snug survival suit. Jasper walked back and smiled at her. "Drink this." He lifted her head and held a tube filled with milky liquid to her lips. "Sugar for energy and meds for the pain." After drinking, she waited, supported by his arm as her headache eased. The touch of another person felt strange after 4 years alone. Pleasant warmth soaked into her and she relaxed. As her head cleared, she remembered the awful angels creeping closer to her dome. She caught at Jasper's hand and cried in alarm, "What about Rosalie? The angels could attack her station." "I sent her a warning and her dome was intact when I flew over on my way to rescue you. She'd plenty of time to escape." Lucilla shook her head. "Rosalie never answers her comm on time. She might be deep in an AR sim and deaf to an urgent message. We have to check on her." "No problem, babe." Jasper grinned. "We'll start as soon as you feel better. You were unconscious for almost an hour." "I'm okay," she muttered. But when she tried to walk, her legs wobbled and her head whirled. She grabbed hold of Jasper's arm and moaned, "Let me sit down." He guided her across the cabin, strapped her into the co-pilot seat, and fetched her helmet. Then he took the pilot seat and ran his fingers over the controls, maneuvering the shuttle in a shallow descent towards the planet's surface. Lucilla recognized the terrain as they flew over Mars 3. Her damaged home lay below. The two domes of her living quarters and the greenhouse were tipped at an angle and the contents exposed to the atmosphere. Green and yellow tendrils covered the domes. "I'd rather not land unless there's something important you want to retrieve," Jasper commented, his eyes on the forward viewer. "You have copies of my scientific data, and I don't think my food and clothes will have survived the angels." Lucilla grimaced. "I'll manage." Jasper reassured her, "Food's not a problem and I can program the printer for your size and clothes. Let's fly on and check Rosalie's station." She asked, "Were the angels around when the quake hit my buggy?" "Some angels followed the buggy into the crevasse." Lucilla gasped in dismay. "I hope none of them stuck to your shuttle." He glanced at her. "Don't worry, babe. I can control the little bugs." "How?" she asked eagerly. "Changing course to veer north," he explained. "I sprayed a mix of soapy detergent to dissolve their cell walls. Remember, the angels were designed to be killed easily. The ones on Mars have never been exposed to the killer mix, so they haven't evolved a defense." She nodded, admiring his ingenuity. "What a good idea. It's good to know we can land if necessary." The white of the northern ice cap rolled onto their horizon. The comm signal lit with Mac's smiley face icon. Jasper hit the switch. "Mac, where are you?" "I've got Rosalie. Her dome isn't safe and she's joining me on Mars 1. Mac's voice was high-pitched in excitement. "What about Lucilla?" "Lucilla is safe with me," Jasper said. "Will your ice station support 2 people?" "Sure, there's plenty of water to generate oxygen." The pink rose sign lit on Lucilla's comm and Rosalie's cheerful voice chirped, "Hi Lucilla. Are you okay, honey?" "Yes, I'm fine. Jasper rescued me after my buggy fell into a crevasse during the quake." Jasper interrupted, "Lucilla broke her wrist, so I'm taking her to the autodock on Phobos." "What an adventure. It's better than The Sims," Rosalie exclaimed. "I got your message and was wondering what to do. Then Mac zoomed down to my dome and scooped me up. He's got loads of space on his station and I'm going to help with some fun experiments in his lab." "What about the angels?" Lucilla said to the open comms. Jasper answered, "They're still generating oxygen even faster than before. We'll just keep at a safe distance while we analyze the terraformation." Rosalie called, "I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm getting a tour of Mac's station." "Bye," Lucilla called as the comms switched off, leaving silence. She looked at Jasper. "Rosalie sounds happy to share Mac's station." Jasper grinned. "She'll enjoy the change from her virtual reality. Mac's a great guy. He's shy with women, although Rosalie seems to have broken through his reserve." He glanced at Lucilla. "Your dome was destroyed by the mutated angels. Unless you want to join Mac and Rosalie on the ice station, you're stuck with me on Phobos station until the relief crew arrives." Her heart lightened perceptibly at the warm acceptance in his expression. "I'd like to see your station." His fingers swept over the pilot's controls and the shuttle swerved on a new course. Turning to gaze at her, he sang, "Let's chase the moon, Lulu, Lucilla. 1 hour to Phobos station and then into the autodock to mend your wrist." Lucilla gazed at Jasper. He was clever and kind as well as funny. But would he reject her as Steve had? She asked, "You're sure you can live with my swirly-colored eyes? Don't you find them repulsive?" Jasper turned to face her and stroked a finger over her cheekbone. "No. I think you're beautiful. You remind me of Lucy, the girl with kaleidoscope eyes from the old Beatles song." His brows lowered in a frown. "Did somebody say your eyes were repulsive? What a jerk. You shouldn't believe it. We were engaged. He refused to see me after my accident," Lucilla explained. It was years ago. Afterward, I thought no one would ever want to see my face. I understand. Look at me. My hand is artificial. He held out his right hand, which was constructed of melded metal and skin-tone carbonite. She touched his hand. It felt cool and smooth. Oh, did you have an accident too? Yes, Jasper said and raised his eyebrows. The prosthetic hand works better for some things. The fingers have chemical senses, so I can identify materials by touch. Lucilla agreed, my artificial eyes are enhanced too. I can sense a broader spectrum of light and focus at greater ranges than natural eyes. He said, I can see why you chose the pretty icon of the 2 rainbow spirals. She nodded and asked, why is your icon a hawk in flight? My family name is Hawkins. You don't look very hawkish. Lucilla grinned at his cheerful freckled face with the dimpled chin and tousled hair. She was happy to see his real face after years of the hawk icon. No, he admitted. But I am a crack pilot. I'll fly you to the moon, babe. She flushed at the warmth in his eyes, and unconsciously she stretched out her arm. Jasper caught her good hand and pulled her erect. His masculine scent thrilled her. His voice grew husky, look at me, Lucy. Are you disgusted by my prosthetic hand? A bright smile blossomed on her face and she murmured, no, Jasper. Her heart thudded as he leaned over and kissed her. They moved together into an embrace. Lucilla held him tightly with her good arm and murmured, it's a miracle. It's been 10 years since I held a man. We can thank the angels for bringing us together, he said. Happy Valentine's Day. Far below the couple embracing in the orbiting shuttle, the green and yellow blotches stained the orange sands, while Mars rotated slowly across the viewing screen. The angels were excreting oxygen to create a new world. The end. Message from Aurora Springer. If you like this story, you may enjoy reading EUROPA, Book 1 in Taxyon Space. EUROPA is set on Jupiter's moon a few years after the events of Lonely Hearts on Mars.